I'll be showing how to apply Bona Nordic Seal and a top coat of Bona Traffic HD with hardener. You always want to mix all of the water-based polys up real well. The roller that I'll be using is by Loba. It's a microfiber, and I do recommend using microfiber rollers with water base. There will be no bubbling, you don't have to worry about any of that. But you do need to buy a special stick apparently for this. Starting off the application is getting the air vents that are in the room, and I'm just showing you how I do it. I make sure to get in there in all the cracks, make sure it's got nice coverage and no leaks. When you're working with water-based finishes or sealers, you want to move quick, especially if they have a tint like this Nordic Seal. As you can see here, I'm trying to move quick as I can, but I first need to get the corners. If this puddle sits right here for too long, it's game over. You got maybe a minute or two before it seeps into the floor and leaves a mark. When it's time to apply a big area, I pour a decent sized puddle out onto the floor. Some people like to do lines. This is just my preference, and I spread it out nice and evenly. Make sure there's no blotchiness and even coverage. And with the Nordic Seal, it's very easy to tell when there's an area that has a little too much on it. If the room isn't too big, I highly recommend you go wall to wall. It might look silly when you're walking, but it really helps with no breaking lines, or you won't get any dry spots or no imperfections. As you could see in the next clip, I had a nice even coverage. It's kind of hard to tell because it is a clear coat, but no blotchiness, and when this dries up, it's going to look perfect. And this should dry up within 2 to 3 hours, sometimes a lot quicker, could even take 30 minutes, but I do recommend waiting at least 2 hours before applying your next coat. It is recommended on the can to wait 3. For the next coat, the customer ordered Bona Traffic HD with hardener, and as you can see here, you just pour the second bottle into the main one, get everything out of there, put on the filter, and make sure to stir it up real well. That's the main key, because if you don't stir it up well, it's going to end up looking bad and you just spent $160 to redo a section. Now, in my opinion, this is a lot easier to apply than the Bona Nordic Seal, just because it doesn't have the white tint and it is super clear, and it's just a lot easier to put on. And after you put on your second coat, you're going to want to buff with the 220 for your final coat. But I recommend waiting 24 hours to buff and then apply your final coat. And I continue going from wall to wall, and this little area took me probably 5 minutes to do, so it applies fairly quick and dries 2 to 3 hours. And Like I mentioned, you do want to wait at least 24 hours to buff for your final coat. Make sure to use a 220 or higher.